If there was a missing piece of information that is costing you money now, or could cost you money in the future, when would you want to find out about it? Ideally, you would want to learn about it right now. It's best to learn these critical facts before you make any financial decisions, because not knowing could have profound effects on your financial future. One of the best ways to make money is to avoid losing it in the first place. So we focus on all the missing facts to keep your money from falling through the cracks, and we engineer tax strategies to reduce burdens on your income. Welcome to the Roadmap to Retirement podcast with Ken New from Pinnacle Financial Wealth Management. As a fiduciary advisor, Ken focuses on creating individualized holistic plans rather than cookie-cutter portfolios. Listen in as Ken and his guest experts explore key retirement and tax strategies that every pre-retiree should consider to reach their pinnacle. Now, onto the show.
This topic keeps getting better and better. Ken New knows that retirement goes well beyond purely financial health. He knows that won't matter much if you don't have the physical, mental, and spiritual health and energy to enjoy what you've earned. His guest this episode is the founder and owner of Herbal Cottage. Christina Slotin is a clinical herbalist who focuses on traditional herbal formulas. Ken, I'm really looking forward to this discussion. Go right on.
Thank you. Yeah, we're honored to be here with this presentation today. You know, we have started this mini series on healthy living in retirement. And in our past episodes, of course, we've done the healthcare in retirement, we've done benefits of the long-term care, also how health and wealth and taking care of your physical bodies through exercise and talking about healthy eating. If you haven't listened to any of those, and you're interested in healthy and a happy retirement lifestyle, you can always go back and give a listen to those episodes over and learn more. So today we're focusing on a holistic approach to health in retirement, because what we put in our bodies is sometimes the most important aspect of health. So we'll pivot back really to holistic financial planning, involving really taking a comprehensive approach to a client's financial situation, considering their current financial status, long-term goals, personal values. And in this context, a client's healthy lifestyle and goals can have a significant correlation. A healthy lifestyle can impact a client's financial planning in several ways. For example, just maintaining good health and physically can help reduce healthcare costs. And it sounds kind of intuitive and really enable individuals to work longer, enjoy life more, potentially more earnings. And eating a healthy diet and exercising regularly can also improve mental health, which can positively affect decision-making when it comes to any kind of matter, but especially financial matters. So I saw a quote, and it was, your diet is not only what you eat, it's what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, the people you hang with. Be mindful of those things. Be mindful of all those things that you put into your body emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. So Hippocrates was the founder of Western medicine. And he had this to say about food and health. He's quoted as saying, nature itself is the best physician. If we are getting back to basics, nature sometimes just heals us the best. Hippocrates also is famed with the quote, let food be thy medicine. So I'm really excited to introduce our guest speaker today, Christina Slotin. Christina is the founder and owner of Herbal Cottage in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Christina is a clinical herbalist and focuses on handmade traditional herbal formulas. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you, Ken. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're certainly happy to have you here. Well, let's just get to it. You know, what is it that you do, Christina? We're talking about herbalist, and that might not mean a lot to a lot of people, but how do you help people find a happier and healthier self?
Sure. Well, I see clients privately on a one-on-one appointments, and we go over their habits, their daily habits as far as eating, exercising. We discuss their emotional well-being. Yes, so depending on, the person's presentation and the different patterns, we then look at herbs. So if you tend to be, like I said, a cold person, then I look at formulas that have circulating or warming properties, such as everybody's used to or, familiar with ginger. Ginger is very good. People use it for nausea, digestion. But it's also really good for any kind of joint discomfort, especially if somebody has coldness. Sometimes people have cold feet, cold knees, a cold lower back, even cold hands. So we'll start using things that you find in the grocery store that are just even cinnamon is another one that I really love. And people understand, they're like, yeah, cinnamon's a little spicy, ginger's a little spicy. I'm like, okay, so that's a warming plant. And those are just really simple examples of what we do. Then the other thing I also do is make formulas that are a little bit more complex and that are more balanced, because somebody may be having, sleep issues, they may be having indigestion, they may be having achy joints. So then we look at different herbs that might go well together for this person's constitution and make a tea blend. And so that would be a client where I make a very custom formula for the person. The other thing I do is I have a herb shop where I have a whole line of herbal teas and also tinctures or extracts of herbs. And so then I try to think of the more common complaints of folks that are walking into the shop. Some people are having allergies or they're just really bothered by the pollen. So I have I call it my pollen season tea. And in that tea, for example, I use herbs that will help them, stop having that drippy nose or the itchy, watery eyes, something that will help their immune system start responding a little bit better. Some people have maybe an immune system that isn't working as it should. And so there's that formula is a little bit more complex, but it's available to everybody. They can start with that. I tell people, like, start with the formula that I have on the shelf, and that may help. That might just be enough. And if it's not, then, then I can see you and we can go into more depth.
Yeah, that's great. I wanted to back up. When you first started, you talked about getting balance. And so, in the past, I've gotten pH strips and that type of thing. Is that what you're talking about? Is that pH balance when you're thinking about that? Or
so I suppose that could be a type of balance in the body. I don't check people's pH, but I do want them, when I talk about balance, I'm asking them, is your digestion balanced? Are you able to eat? Do you have like normal hunger? Or do you have excessive hunger? We want you to feel like you have a normal amount of hunger, that you're not feeling like you're craving sweets or you're craving caffeine. So we want you to be at a point where, you're able to eat a healthy amount of food, you're able to digest it, and then you're able to eliminate it, and that you're able to derive nutrients from that meal that you just had, that you feel vibrant, energetic the next day, that you're able to sleep well. So all the things I think we strive for, or what we see as a person that's balanced, you have a emotional well-being, is it balanced? So that's what I mean.
Yeah. Terrific then. And so part of that, of course, is to be able to assimilate. And I would think that, what a bonus it is to be able to talk to someone about an herb, but also how to integrate it with other things that they're doing to optimize or make their whole healthy scenario better. There is one of those things that many of my clients who are up there in age a little bit, they're in their 60s and 70s in some cases, so they are taking traditional medicines for certain kinds of ailments. And how would you coordinate with something like that?
Right. And so just living in Cocoa Beach, we have mostly, we have a large population of seniors and retirees. And I understand that they're all, there's a large majority of them that are on medications.
Mhm.
So if they do come into my shop, I do ask them. And, so the herbs are pretty gentle. I think a lot of people's goal is also to get off medication, I find, is
Oh, for sure.
that's the reason they walk here. They
Yeah.
walk,
Yep.
they're like, oh, I think the herbs could fix me. And I'm like, that's true. They could go a long way to helping, reach a balanced state of health, but do it with, I usually say, you have to do it with caution. I do recommend that they consult with their doctor, and the herbs do have effects on the body. And so if you are on blood, pressure medication, and you take an herb that you've read about that helps with that, then I told you, make sure that you monitor your blood pressure, because there will definitely be a change. And then you can talk to your doctor, about managing the dose, maybe lowering it, but doing it carefully I usually, I'm cautious about that. So being aware of even their diet, I'm like, diet by itself usually is the main thing that's going to bring you to a better state of health. And if you manage your diet first, and then you can add some herbal supplementation, then you can get to your goal faster, or just start feeling better. I know people have some side effects of medications, and that's usually one of the reasons that they don't want to continue them. And there's a way to do that, but I do, always with caution. Herbs are very safe. There's a long history of use with herbs. And so if you were to have a side effect from an herb, as soon as you stop it, within 48 hours, you'll probably be over that side effect. So they're generally safe, but you
Yeah.
still can proceed with caution, especially with the elderly.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that a lot with medicines. I've been very fortunate not to have to deal with the side effects, but most everyone will have some comment of side effects on traditional drugs and how they really don't like to do that, especially with some of the impact on livers and kidneys and things like that that can happen. So now let's switch gears a little bit. I've got a question here. Do you use local farmers, or where do you get your products from?
So this has been a whole learning experience for me, Ken,
Yeah.
as to where to find herbs.
Mm-hmm.
We strive to get organically grown and sustainably grown herbs, because we don't want to introduce pesticides or any other kind of
Oh,
contaminants
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sure.
into our products. People are trying to get healthy, so the last thing I want to do is, bring in things that are toxic. I have a few people in Florida that grow some of the herbs. For example, there's a farm up in the Panhandle that I've bought the passion flower from, that I use for my sleepy tea. I'm trying to think. And I have one of my teachers also lives up in the Panhandle, and she's been able to give me a few of her herbs that she has growing. But for the most part, I have to source outside of out of the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little harder to get some of the herbs that I need to be grown here.
Mm-hmm.
My husband has wild foraged a few things near the river, like some of the elderberries that grow locally, even some goldenrod. But I prefer to get them from, because the quantity that I need isn't something that, you need to be a professional forager probably if you're going to get the kind of quantity like that I'm requiring to make the batches. But I do go through these wonderful farms from Michigan, Vermont, all the way to California, different co-ops. And and I do, I ask the farmer ahead of time, this is how much I'm going to need for the year. And so when they harvest, they either send them to me dried, but I also work with a lot of fresh plants. I've just been pulled, like some of the roots have just been pulled out of the ground or overnighted to us. We clean them and we process them immediately. On that day, it's a huge and busy day for us, but we get all these roots, cut them up, or leaves or whatever, and we have them soaking and
Mm-hmm.
ready to be extracted. So
Wow.
it's been exciting to meet like the people that are really connected, I think, to the different plants. And I don't know, it's been a wonderful experience just to see how much care goes into growing these herbs.
Sure. And I suspect you're looking for a specific scenario with your herbs, so you have to go to where it's available.
Right. So this is our second year in business. So I've developed some relationships with different farmers, and they can't always provide the entire amount of herb that I need, but I always want to continue to support them. So I may have 3 different farms that I'm sourcing, an herb from. And so I feel like I'm supporting different, different special places.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. I know you are listening to the Roadmap to Retirement podcast, and I'm so happy you're here. If you have any questions, please head over to www.pinnaclefinancialwealthmgmt.com or the show notes to find out how to reach us. We would love to hear from you.
Sure. Well, what are the top scenarios that you're working with, like the top 2 or 3? Like myself, I have an acid buildup called gout and that type of thing. So I don't know if that's very prevalent out there, but what are some of the main things? Is it the sleep? Is it the digestion? What are the top 3 scenarios that you work with?
The top 3, well, okay. So if I were to base it on like the products that are the most popular in my shop, it would be memory is a huge one.
No, I get that.
Just mental sharpness seems to be a big concern.
Okay, sign me up.
And lucky for us, I do make I call it my brain elixir. I use lion's mane mushroom, the fresh mushroom, and different herbs that are used in the Ayurvedic tradition, like bacopa, gotu kola. Just I do a blend for that, and I think that's a concern for folks that are in retirement. They spent their whole lives probably learning some skills, and they've got all these talents, and they want to keep sharing them, I think. So that's kind of top of mind, and being sharp with your grandchildren, just keeping up with the young people in the family, I think. And then there's also all this new technology. I think that's new skills are probably being demanded of people in retirement as well. They want to stay active, and so it seems to be a very popular topic. Just how do I stay sharp? How do I remember people's names, dates? How do just I don't know. Just it seems like that's the thing here.
Yeah, it really is. I hear that a lot as well. I think what it gets down to is, who's the most important person to you. And, many times we search outside of ourselves and for someone that's very, very important, but really the most important person is you. The way you take care of yourself is how you're going to be able to show up for all those people in your life that you love and you want to spend time with and do things with. And I think you're speaking to that whole want that people have today.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I think now we see a lot of people that are suffering with like dementia and Alzheimer's, and you have the caretakers, that's usually family, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think people don't want to burden a family member or their younger kids. And so that's commendable.
Yeah. I love the term that you used, brain elixir. Expand on that for a moment. What is a brain elixir? I love the idea.
Okay, so traditionally in herbalism, if you have like a concentrated extract of an herb with alcohol and water, you call it a tincture. If you were to take that extract of an herb and add honey to it, that's a syrup. If you were to take that and then add a little alcohol and syrup to extract it, or honey, then you get an elixir. So there is some, so I did name it an elixir because I added a little bit of honey to help me extract some of the constituents, as well as the organic alcohol plus the water. So there is that technical use
Yeah.
of it. But it's really, I just feel like that's a good word to describe it. You want
Yeah.
your brain to be vibrant and,
Well, you nailed it right there. I want my brain to be vibrant for sure. So that sounds great. I also remember you telling a story about ginger and how it helps joints, which is really another thing that I hear a lot from people is aches and pains and joints and that. And it sounds like ginger's got some application here.
that's right, Ken. So like when you mentioned the gout,
Mhm.
ginger would be very nice. And you can ingest the ginger, but you can also do like a foot soak, making a really strong tea of the ginger and then maybe soaking your foot in it, or even soaking a little towel and then putting the towel, wrapping your achy parts around that warm towel. That's a nice way to use ginger. It's a warming, it brings blood flow to the area, which again brings healing and nourishment to any parts that are hurting and aching. Here in Florida, we also live kind of in a damp, there's a lot of humidity. And I know folks are inside a lot in the colder air conditioner. They may be sitting in their work or just, not, especially if something's hurting. I find that people aren't always moving because it hurts to move or they want to give it some rest. So ginger is kind of a nice way to really bring back some blood flow to different parts of the body. The other thing you can use, like I said, even cinnamon is really good. It's warming. It smells good. You could have a little tea even of the ginger tea or even the cinnamon tea. And Ken, as far as gout, I was gonna let you know that celery seed has been one of the herbal. There's an herbal use for celery seed for gout.
Okay.
So
Wow.
just
Well, you've got so many options, so many things to be talking about here. How did you learn all this? I mean, how did you come up with this knowledge of doing what you're doing?
right. So my background, I have a degree in environmental science. I had to take all the science classes, and certainly botany was in there. My own experience in as I was growing up, my mom used a lot of herbs. We were grinding them fresh for the meals, and I just grew up really drinking a lot of tea. And when we weren't feeling so good,
Mm-hmm.
I was subjected to cups of oregano tea with our background. and
Aha.
and chamomile. I love chamomile. Oregano was a little harder, but I so I think that started. So it's been a lifelong kind of use of herbs. And then I didn't know really on that there was an widespread use of herbs in the United States. My background, my parents are from Mexico. I have that traditional use, but then I did take a class with an herbalist here in Indialantic, and I really learned from her that there's been this beautiful tradition of herbal use in the United States from the beginning. The Native Americans, the different immigrants that have come into our country have always relied on plants, and that it was really the original pharmacy for the United States was based on plants. And so there's these books or there's texts called there's Materia Medicas that describe all of the plants that, well, not all of the plants, but a large majority of the plants, their properties and the use and the history of use, in the US and around the world. So different places seem to use maybe similar herb or the same herb in different ways. And herbs have many different properties. So just studying the books, I did also do a professional course with the East West School of Planetary Herbology. The founder is Michael Tira, and he's also the founder of the American Herbalist Guild. So I did a program of study that introduced me to more herbs that are used in the U.S. in traditional Chinese medicine, in Ayurvedic medicine, and then it's hard to start learning, Ken, because there's so many plants.
Absolutely.
You
Well,
gotta
we have
keep.
that same thing in finance. We're constantly learning new things and hearing and having new challenges and all those kinds of things. So yeah, I remember looking at your bio, and you've just gone through all these different phases of you have a passion here. You've been doing this for a long time.
Yes, for a long time. And so I would say I did it like 20 years. When I first had my children, that was kind of, I also treated myself for different illnesses. And so that really sparked my interest when I wanted to do my own healthcare and medicines weren't working. I did that for an autoimmune illness. So
Mhm.
I cared for myself. And then I had children and I wanted to take care of them. So, and my oldest is 18. So I guess it's been more than 20 years.
This has been going on a while.
It's
Yeah.
been going on a while. It flew by.
Yeah. Well, really to kind of summarize here, holistic health really is, I think, the basis of true health. Has so many benefits, treating the root cause of health issues. I know you mentioned Western medicine, and we talk about that a lot because it's really, sometimes I feel like we go to doctors here and it's a medication or a procedure or something has to be done. And it's always so refreshing to listen to someone who says, well, what's causing this? Not treating the symptom, but what is causing this to happen? And then promoting really the overall well-being and just reducing all the chronic illnesses and the diabetes and the things that seem to be so prevalent with that, and really doing that really from a comprehensive approach, really looking at the wellness of the individuals and creating balance, vitality, and really empowering people to be in control of the health more so. So beautiful conversation with you. So now, how do people connect with you? How are they going to be able to, you mentioned earlier, if there's an interest here, you do private client meetings, one-on-ones with them there at your shop, or how would they get in touch with you?
Yes. So there's two ways you can call me. I do consultations and I make appointments. So if somebody is interested in, making an appointment, we can decide a time and date.
Okay. And
And I do,
what's the number, Christina?
it's 321-355-9435.
Okay.
And then I also have my website, and people can go in there and look at the things that are available. And for the local folks, you could just come into the shop. I'm here every day. So if you needed to chat a little bit, ask me a few questions, we may be able to, just, recommend a product that's on the shelf. And or we can discuss other options as far as
Yeah.
appointments go.
Okay. Terrific then. So again, can contact Christina at 321-355-9435, or go to her website. And Herbal Cottage is how they would look you up if they Googled you. Would that be correct?
Yes, you can Google me. It's on the Google business listing there. So
Okay, terrific. Well, it's been wonderful to listen to you talk about the herbs and the healthy perspective that herbs can give to basic health, really the foundation of health. Any other things that you'd like to say before we go?
well, I'm happy to share. I'm just really glad to share some of the information. And I just like to encourage people to, start with even the just a gentle tea, like a chamomile tea. Start drinking the herbs because they really, really have a powerful impact on your health. And it doesn't make up for, perfect or better diets and exercise, but it enhances what you're doing to stay healthy. And they're very effective at resolving, different issues. So
Yeah. And do you have the materials for that there in your cottage?
yep, we have chamomile.
Chamomile.
plus 100 other herbs.
And take a little of that and it'll just make you feel better, huh?
Yes, it will.
Well, terrific then. Good tip there. Just like financial planning, holistic financial planning is the comprehensive approach. We also have taken another look into healthy living and looking at the value of herbs and the use of herbs for good, basic, healthy lifestyle. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to the Roadmap to Retirement podcast. Click the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our website at www.pinnaclefinancialwealthmgmt.com or give us a call at 321-454-3623. Securities offered through Center Street Securities, Inc., CSS, a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Center Street Securities Advisors, CSA, a SEC-registered investment advisor. Pinnacle Financial Wealth Management, CSS, and CSA are independent entities. Discussions are meant to be general in nature and may not be suitable for all investors. Please consult a tax professional regarding any tax implications.